All right, it's another vintage VHS for you guys. We got Bob Trevelyan again with Frank Carter, and their very popular show they did called Diamonds in the Surf. Here we go.
This is the Chesapeake Bay in Maryland. For many, the bay is a sportsman's paradise, offering some of the finest fishing and boating on the Atlantic seaboard. But for two men, the bay offers a different challenge, a challenge that quickens the heartbeat of anyone who has ever dreamed of adventure and excitement. That challenge is the pursuit of treasure. Bob Trevelyan and Frank Carter devote much of their time to recovering lost gold, silver, precious gems, and collectibles from the waters of the bay. There are those who search the deep-sea coastline of Florida and the islands of the Caribbean, diving on sunken sailing vessels lost hundreds of years ago in the waters of the Western Hemisphere, marked by treacherous reefs and piracy. Their goal, ancient jewelry, gold doubloons, pieces of eight, and nautical artifacts. But their ventures are costly, requiring huge sums of money to finance the deep-sea diving equipment and investigative research to pursue this lost treasure. The sunken valuables do exist, but the highly skilled divers and equipment required to bring them to the surface are so costly that even wealthy investors are easily discouraged by initial failure. This is not where the dream of treasure ends for Frank Carter and Bob Trevelyan. They work in shallow water surf, and they have found a resource in the Chesapeake Bay known to few people. Their investment is minimal, but their rewards are great. Coins and jewelry, lost by bathers who frequent the many swimming beaches along the shores, are their target. Not big-time treasure. Their search requires little capital, only a few inexpensive pieces of equipment, a little experience, and a bit of determination. They are, in the end, drawn by the excitement and a chance to escape into a world of adventure. This is Treasure Search. Frank and Bob have been searching for treasure for over 15 years. Their search has netted them well over $350,000 in recovered valuables in only 6 years since they gave up their full-time occupations to hunt for treasure. The amazing fact is that similar caches of treasure lie in shallow water sites all over the world, just waiting to be found. In the mid and late 1800s, Americans began a lasting romance with beaches. Resort towns began to appear along the shores of the Chesapeake Bay. The great watering places of Europe were a long distance away, and travel was affordable only to the wealthy. The many resort sites along the bay offered escape and recreation. Crowds flocked there during the summer season. Some sites competed with Barnum-like attractions. A vacation on the bay was something to write home about. Many resorts issued their own postcards. Vacation time on the bay was a relaxing change from work in the hot Baltimore summer. Bathing was the main attraction. In the gentle bay surf, canoeing and boating were safe even for the novice. dance pavilions, even fireworks liven the evening hours. But the resorts offered all sorts of entertainment for Papa, Big and Little Brother, Mama, and the girls, in a variety of arcades, bandstands, and concessions. Day trips brought steamer loads of families to picnic. Hotels, inns, and boarding houses provided weekly accommodations. There were even large amusement parks. The Chesapeake Bay was a summer playground. Steamboats whose names are remembered fondly by generations ferried the well-to-do, along with their best finery, jewelry, cash, and valuables, to vacation on the bay. The Bay steamer was part of the lifestyle of those who lived near the Chesapeake. Some 100 years after their birth, the beach resorts crumbled, but not the treasure that summer inhabitants left behind. Derelict boats rot in the shallows, abandoned to marine life. Piers are storm-wrecked and broken. A rusted ticket machine is all that remains of an old amusement park. The majority of the bay beaches are forgotten. Some have been replaced by condominiums. Very few remain active swimming beaches. But the shallow waters, with their wealth of buried treasure, remain. It is from these shallow waters that Bob and Frank have recovered a staggering amount of lost valuables, netting some $40,000 apiece for the two men each year. On an average day, they bring home $200 worth.
When a swimmer enters the water, he rarely remembers to remove rings and jewelry from his finger. The ring may slip off and drop to the bottom. It's impossible to locate it without a metal detector.
Once I locate the object with the search coil of the detector, I use my foot to mark the exact location. I let the detector float to the surface at a position where I can work without it getting into my way. Using a metal retriever, I bring the bucket of the tool into position behind the heel of my foot. From there on, the procedure is just like using a shovel. At times, it may take a few scoops to bring an item to the surface, depending upon how deeply it is buried in the bottom. Each bucketful is then dumped into a screen sifter. The sifter separates sand and debris from the target, leaving the item exposed on the surface of the screen.
Each article is a prize, from a lone penny to a diamond ring which may be worth thousands of dollars. Bob and Frank hunt every day, Their largest find is a diamond ring valued at $13,000. There are truly diamonds in the surf.
How'd you do, Frank?
I got a nice initial ring and two wedding bands.
Do you know I hit these two school rings about 2 feet from each other? Oh, I like that bracelet. Antique, definitely silver. I got a couple silver halves also and a few mercury dimes. You know, for a while there, I always thought we were on to a bonanza.
Well, I believe there's some diamond rings out there, Bob. What do you think?
I just hope you're right. Let's go.
Let's hit it.
When winter turns cold, Bob and Frank move their operation inside. It is then that they identify and evaluate their treasure. Sometimes sharing sessions with weekend hunter Bill. Jewelry, coins, and collectibles only pay off if value is accurately determined.
In very fine to extra fine, she's somewhere between $45 and $70.
Yeah, she's right on that right side of the center, Bob.
Yeah, it takes it down a little bit in value.
But you know, sometimes if you don't see that inclusion or something in there, you know.
She'll go good. You get a good price for that if you decide to sell it. I don't know if you want to.
Bob and Frank have become somewhat expert on the treasure they recover from the Chesapeake.
It's supposed to be a sapphire, but I doubt that it is. It's not real.
Yeah.
They have accumulated gold and silver, not by the ounce, but by the pound.
You know, U.S. coins are fine, and I enjoy collecting them, but I got to tell you,
Tokens become a unique collection.
Tokens. I don't think people today realize what these tokens are going to be all about.
I know they're getting to be quite valuable.
Take a look at that. You just don't see workmanship like that anymore.
I'll tell you,
They're not making tokens anymore. They're going to be so valuable in years to come. Coin dealers are starting to recognize them a bit now, but
Right.
I
Let
think
me see if I could,
yeah.
And of course, jewelry. From traditional school and signet rings to fine custom designs, some dating back into the 19th century. Diamonds, rubies, emeralds, sapphires.
Frank, show him that one here.
Oh, yeah.
That's very unusual. Take a look at that bill.
What do you think of that, Bill?
Garnets or rubies?
They're garnets. I like to see them be rubies.
Well, there's a lot of workmanship in this ring.
It's really nice, isn't it?
Doesn't look like one of your... It's about the most unusual piece I've ever seen.
Think of that one. That is a snake ring, Bill.
Oh, yeah, two little diamond eyes.
These things are sought after pretty good, you know.
I've never
now.
seen one of these dug up.
They made them along the 50s.
Since beginning their treasure hunting, the two have digested every bit of information they can acquire on precious stones. Certified appraisals from a gemologist are desirable for resale to the public.
Yeah, it's
got two small diamonds.
But Bob and Frank make it a point to educate themselves on the basic properties of precious stones and the variables that determine value.
you know, you have your pear-shaped stones and your solitaires and all the different angles, but this thing here, I've just never seen a stone shaped like a star before. It's extremely unusual.
It's a typical style of back in the 50s. If all treasure items were cut and dry as gold and silver and precious jewels, everything would be a breeze. But there's some items we actually don't know the value of, and we're not going to sell them until we know what they're all about.
Some items remain mysteries. There are many collectors worldwide who will pay top prices for these. Fortunately for the hunter, these turn up quite often. Obscure collectibles, like radio and television premiums, lead toys, Cracker Jack favors, novelty rings.
course, an item like this antique squirt gun goes back a bit before my time. But I can remember going down to the beach as a youngster with similar toys like this and losing them in the surf. When that wave would hit up near the shoreline and it would grab a toy away from you like this, it would be lost.
Vintage tokens are intriguing. Many are extremely scarce and bring excellent prices from a growing number of collectors.
You know, some of the businesses in the past, you know, they had bought massive bunches of tokens and printed on the back of their advertisements.
Yeah, but you couldn't get a design like this
No.
as inexpensive as they got it, because this is just super design here, I'll tell you. I like that.
I think that's fantastic.
Oh, look at that tree. This one says White Brothers and Company, Willow, California, and they use the willow tree as their logo there. I like that. Technically, I guess you could call this a token, but it is definitely religious in nature. It's some sort of souvenir of the pilgrimage, it says, in New York. But there's a cathedral on the back. Technically, she may be a medallion. She may be a token. It's hard to say.
She's brass.
Yeah, this is definitely brass. She's got a much higher tone.
You hardly ever find any out of rare metal.
Yeah.
Occasionally, non-metallic items are scooped up by chance. An antique bottle lying on the bottom beside a silver coin may be brought to the surface.
This old bottle was a nice old find, but not quite as old as this one. This bottle is about 200 years old.
Research is the key for the highly successful hunter. It takes a different kind of digging at the library or historical society to open the door to the past.
Looks like it's from about, I guess the picture was taken in about the 50s or 60s. I would say late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah, she looks like an old one, boy, I tell you.
The two men search for references made to recreational life on the Chesapeake when the beaches thrived.
Let's get us an alternate beach, you know, for when we get down there in case the marinas too big.
Casual mention of a small bathing site included in a history of the bay can mean recovery of lost treasure.
There it is right there. It's the same thing.
Including this, you had a fair steamboat wharf, Victorian hotel.
Right. I think the ferries came in most of them.
The hotel's gone. The hotel's gone.
Right.
It was now from the marina, yeah.
An article in an old newspaper may provide a clue. But the single most productive source of locating treasure beaches is not in written form.
Oh, when I was a kid, there were beaches everywhere. People enjoyed getting away for the day and swimming. I remember these spots so well because I loved to go there for the day. As I recall, the beach was right here, and the pavilion faced east.
So most of the swimming went on right around here.
That's right, but they did swim further down the shore, in this area, too.
So you're talking as far back as the 1920s.
Yes, it might even be older than that.
There's a special feeling getting up early. The world's in a state of hibernation. You're setting out on an adventure that few people even know about. There's a thrill to this whole treasure hunting experience that can't be described in words. You lie in bed the night before a hunt and anticipate what could happen, and it actually becomes difficult to get to sleep.
As many times as Bob's picked me up at the crack of dawn, I never get tired of it.
Morning, Bill. Morning. Howdy, Frank.
How you doing, Bobby?
For me, it's not the value, it's the fun and adventure. On the weekends, I like to trade in my necktie for a metal detector, escape from my work, and unwind.
When I get out there in the water, it's just like a dream world to me. I sort of psych myself up for goals and just relax. Everything else in the whole world leaves at that point. A little thing like stopping off for a cup of coffee before hitting the beach becomes an event. I wouldn't miss it for the world. The coffee even tastes better.
Today, they search a new location. Before unloading equipment at a new site, they check tide and water conditions.
Oh, we're in pretty good shape. We've got a couple hours before low tide, so I think we're all right. Let's get our gear on.
Oh, that sounds good.
Bob and Frank have designed their own tools to work for quick recovery of treasure. The wire screen sifter, made of inner tube tires stretched around a chicken wire frame and tied with rope. The essential tool is the submersible electronic metal detector, which emits a signal when the coil passes over any metal object. This particular detector that Frank and Bob use reaches metal objects buried to a depth of 24 inches in the bottom. The signal is heard through a mechanical vibrator, housed in headphones they wear. The power pack is replaced with a fresh set of batteries for the morning's search. Their retriever has a stainless steel bucket, perforated to allow water to drain quickly, and a long handle. This tool penetrates sand, hard clay, or gravel. Most of the year, the beachcombers wear divers' wetsuits to compensate for cool water temperatures and to protect against the sting of sea nettles or jellyfish, which populate the bay at certain seasons.
I don't know how many thousands of rings I've dug over the years. By now you would think the excitement would wear off, but it hasn't. Each time I see the shiny yellow metal glitter in the screen, I get the same thrill all over again.
Small gold wedding band over here, gentlemen.
You silver coins over here, but so far no gold.
At least we know we're in the right spot.
I've been coming back to these same beaches for 10 years now. But with tides and the effects of weather, Mother Nature is always hiding more treasure just beyond the reach of our metal detectors. Sooner or later, these items come within reach.
Hey, Bob! Take a look at this. Looks like some type of foreign coin.
Hold on a second, let me see what you got. After all these years, we still wonder how some of them came to be here.
Oh, that looks nice, Bill.
That's a Chinese cash coin. That's a nice find. They used to use this years ago, back in the 1860s, as a means of exchange. I like that. That's fantastic.
People have moved on to pools, but the remaining beach inhabitants are curious.
Lots of signals over here, fellas. Getting a few coins.
We're in school ring territory, about a half an ounce.
Right.
Half an ounce is worth about $200. A good day's find. With all the territory waiting to be searched, there's got to be millions of dollars worth waiting to be found.
Uh-oh. Oh, yes. Diamond country. Frank, check this out. Look at that 3 diamond cluster. I love it. I love it.
Cool.
Thank